Then. Okay, so D2, earthquake fault zone, that's on the page number 9. Buyers and seller advice in the California Public Resource Code, section 2622, 2696, require the delineation and mapping of earthquake fault zone along with the active fault and seismic hazard zone in California affecting the city. Counties must regulate certain development project with this zoning. Construction and development affecting the property may be subject to finding a geological report preparing by the registered California geologist. Generally, the seller must disclose in the property in such a zone, can use a research company in aid of the process. If the buyer wants further information, broker recommend that during the buyer's inspection contingency period, buyer make independent inquiry and such research company or with appropriate government agency concerning the use of improvement of the property. Buyers advise that there is a potential for the earthquake and seismic hazard even outside designated zone. Broker do not have expertise in this area. The best bet, you know what we recommend the seller, what do we do? Order NHD, Natural Hazard Disclosure Statement. Costs about just $100 from the third party. So it's not from a seller's knowledge, it's from the third party and definitely whole lot more reliable. So usually the listing agent will, have the escrow order the NHD report, Natural Hazard Disclosure Report. So that will actually cover pretty much everything, from the earthquakes, fault zone, and more, on that. That would actually protect a whole lot better. That's basically they're doing the survey for the past 100 years to see if they happen, anything like that. Number 3, EPA lead-based paint, renovation, repair, and paint rules. Basically, all we need to do is just give in the booklet, right? You guys don't know the booklet. We have the zip form, or we have a hard copy in the front desk. You can get it from the earthquake safety guideline, lead-based paint. The other one is what the asbestos. They all in the same booklet. Okay, just give it to them. The new rule required a contractor maintenance professional working on a pre-1978 house, child care facility, school, and lead-based paint be certified, and their employee be trained, and that they follow a protective work practice standard. The rule applied to renovation, repair, and painting activities affecting more than 6 square feet and lead-based paint in the room more than 20 square feet and lead-based paint on the exterior. Enforcement of the rule beginning October 1st, 2010. See the EPA website at www.epa.gov/lead for more information. Buyer and seller are advised to consult with the appropriate professional. Broker do not have expertise in this area. We don't, okay? Don't be smart. Sometimes we have to play dumb. Fire hazard. Buyer and seller advise that the fire annually caused by destruction thousands of homes due to a varied climate and topology. Certain areas have higher risk fires and the others. Certain type of material used in the home construction create a greater risk of the fire than others. If the property located within the state fire responsibility area or very high fire hazard zone, generally seller must disclose that fact to buyer under the California Public Resource Code, Section 4136, California Government Code, Section 51178 and 51183.5, and may use a research company to aid the process. Owner of a property may be assessed the fire prevention fee, and each structure on each parcel in such zone. The fee may be adjusted annual commence July 1st, 2013. If the buyer wants further information, broker recommend that during the buyer inspection contingency period, buyer contact the local fire department and buyer's insurance agency. The risk of the buyer's advice, there is a potential to fire even outside designated zone. Broker do not have expertise in this area. What do we have? When we open escrow, the first thing we tell the buyer do the inspection on the house, and what the other thing is we do right away. have them notify their insurance agent, the homeowner insurance agent, because we want to make sure this property can be insured. Okay, that's really is. If the insurance turn you down on the fire, or like State Farm, AAA, or whatever the insurance company may be, and the farmers, if they turn the buyer down because say, well, that's a very high risk of a fire zoning, then what do we do? The agent will tell you the last resort we get is the California Fair Plan. That's a California State Fire Insurance. They protected nothing but fire. Okay, they cannot turn you down. But that's the thing, is like, if you look at the custom home in Hacienda Heights, La Habra Heights, they all have this issue. And they won't. They won't. The insurance company, mainly it's a fire. Because you can probably have the insurance cover you other item, not exactly the homeowner insurance. It could be what we call like umbrella insurance. So California state cover the fire. You can have an insurance company cover. Rest of them is more like umbrella if anything happens. Yeah. Yeah, they all have umbrella insurance if you need to do that. But mainly they want to do, the insurance company, put it this way, insurance company making money on the fire insurance. That's a major premium. If the rest of them, if you see your home insurance, the itemized, fires always cost more. Rest of them, just a little. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's fine. If you want to, and I say, if not the fire, then the fire part, and leave it to the state of California. Yeah, California Fair Plan. Usually the agent will tell you that, the insurance agent. Maybe you should consider maybe find another insurance agent or something. Because they sell you everything, that's fine, nothing wrong with it. They want to make some money. But mainly your house got to be insured for the fire, right? Then you tell them and say, I cannot go through the California State, Fair Plan. You got to go through the insurance agency. All the insurance agency, they can apply. Used to be a long time ago, take about a couple of weeks. Now, probably taking sooner, 2 to 3 days. Get approval. And they will not turn you down. Basically, what they did is approve on what? A premium. Money. How much? Fair Plan, yeah. That's it. They only cover fire. They won't cover any theft, any medical, or somebody fell down, on your front of your house. Yeah, they just only cover the fire on your structure. Yes. Yeah. Other coverage you gotta have to call. Yeah. But I mean, they have to, give it a quote, for the premium. So basically, insurance agency help you to apply, and you're waiting for they to respond. What's the premium? What you need to pay per year? Yeah. So that's why the some of a house, even with the larger home, they may not have it. Or for example, they only cover on the homeowner insurance. I mean the owner occupied. And they may not cover on the rental. Just like the one, last time I do the one on La Habra Heights, 7,000 square footage house, and I lease for $7,500 per month. Originally, I just notified the insurance company and say, we're gonna change from owner occupied to rental. And the insurance company, oh, no, we're not gonna insure if it's a rental. They figure higher risk. And they originally go through, I know it's AIG. Well, I heard that should be the life insurance company. I don't know why they do the housing, and I say okay, but when I look at the premium, oh boy, $8,000 a year. That's a lot. True, yeah, $8,000. Anyway, so they would not insure, and they say, well, you can keep it on the homeowner. Say, I don't think that's a good idea because it's going to be tenant occupied. It's not homeowner anymore. So usually we notify the insurance because if who knows if anything really happened, and they can just denying on us because we did not notify them as a tenant occupied instead of an owner. So we switch a different company. I refer them to my insurance agents and State Farm. They apply for State Farm. State Farm, I'm sorry, we cannot cover that because the harbor height, very high fires only. They said unless it's a repeating client, they will cover. If the brand new client, they will not write a policy. So the insurance agent, they say, okay, no problem. They will apply for the California Fair Plan. So take about 2 days coming out. I think the premium is $2,300. And why? If that's the case, I just tell the owner, then all we need to just keep this. That's a big difference. 8,000, 2,300. No, the AIG will stop. So they will return whatever the premium, unused premium. They return about $3,000 unused premium. So we go through the California Fair Plan through State Farm agent. State Farm agent actually only make a little money through California Fair Plan. It's not because it's not their company product. Fire, yes. We don't need to is because we ask for the tenant. They have the insurance up to $1 million. So we have two insurance, right? Okay. One is we only cover fire. Well, I already told the tenant we only cover fire. Whatever your personal belongings, anything wrong with the house, you have to get your own insurance because this is a bigger house. We request on the lease agreement. Later on, when I go through lease agreement, it'll tell you, I will write it down what's the policy. Some of a townhouse, probably only require just, $100,000 premium or condo. That's a minimum. When you have a pet, then I started to increase the premium to $300,000 because I don't know if it's a dog bite or not. Not only that, if it has a pet, if a dog, and I gotta make sure the dog has an insurance into the premium because I don't know the dog is going to be bite. Definitely, we all know that California has the law called one free bite. That's like last time I heard from the attorney. What do you mean one free bite? First bite, you cannot sue the homeowner. You cannot claim the insurance. What, the first bite is free? Yeah. Wow. First time I heard that. Okay, as according to you, the attorney, you say so. Hey, first bite is free. Yeah. If the second buy at the same person, okay, then you can after the insurance company. Yeah, a different person still first buy. Oh man. But anyway, so if we can have the pets, then I gotta have to make sure the tenants renter insurance. Not only they have their insurance policy, also including the pet. Okay, the pet has to be insured, and also the beneficiary has to be righted with the landlord, part of a beneficiary, not just a tenant. I want to make sure the renter insurance, part of a beneficiary is for landlord, not all tenant. So those are, I will tell you how to do it when I go through the lease, the insurance company. So that's, as more like a listing agent's job, just make sure it's covered. But I know it's like, the lease agreement, they say, tell the tenant, they got to, have an insurance. But how many agents really enforce it? I want to see it. Because tenants, yeah, but they move in, they sign anything. But did they ever insure? Probably not. I want to see it before you move in. No insurance, no key. Okay? Show me your insurance policy being active. Then I'll hand you the key. Yeah. Sometimes, you know, as a listing agent, you know, for the lease, you gotta have to know what to enforce it, because that you are standing on the landlord side. You don't want any more trouble. That's why lots of agents, they don't like to do the lease, because the lease, they got make less money but more trouble, more lawsuit in between landlord and tenant. Huh? Anything on the lease. Commercial probably a little bit easier, but still. Residential, because residential, what we really consider as people live in the property. So more fight, more argument. Commercial, hey, based on paperwork. Oh, tenant, you're gonna have to maintain your air conditioning system. But not on residential. Residential, who's responsible to maintain the air con? Landlord. Commercial, tenant. Yeah. Because basically, who uses the air con on the commercial? Tenant, you, right? Okay, you maintain. So that's why when we sign a commercial lease, we want to make sure not just the air conditioning system is working properly, and it's not too old either. If it's really, really old one, then we request that either landlord, you replace a new one, or you have to guarantee for certain years. I'm not gonna be responsible because it's an old unit. When it breaks down, you tell me to maintain? Oh no, right? Yeah. So that's why, you know, but the but I mean, if you're looking at the residential, all landlord, no matter what, air conditioning system, because people live inside. For example, furnace is not working, you better jump on it right away, because that's a California law. Just for your information, if the furnace is not working or no furnace, lender will not fund the loan. House can be no aircon, but cannot be without the furnace. Yeah. So that's different. Okay. FERTA in California withholding. This is, you know, regarding on the foreigner. Buyers and sellers advise that the Internal Revenue Code Section 1445 as a February 17, 2016 require buyer withhold and remit an Internal Revenue Service 15% of a purchase price of a property if the seller is non-resident alien, foreigner. IRS. Well, who actually withholding? Escrow. Okay? If they are the foreigner. Escrow will withholding a 15% of a purchase price unless an express exemption apply. Only 10% needed to be withheld if the buyer required the property as a buyer residence and the price does not exceed $1 million. That's the difference. If under $1 million, withholding 10%. Over $1 million, $1 million withholding 15%. Because a lot of foreigners didn't pay capital gain tax. That's the issue. Yes. So if a $2 million house, how much is withholding? Yes, $300,000. No. Seller. Seller, for example, seller bought it in cash. They sell it at $2 million. Okay, for example, they minus all the commission, you know, everything on that. They probably got the say like and all the fee. You're probably looking at, let's say, round it up, $1.9 million left. Plus IRS, 15%. That's another 300. Well, you gotta have to. No, it's not for how long. Seller, you gotta apply. Get the tax ID number. Get on the. I don't think you want to do it yourself. Call on CPA. Have the CPA. Get the tax ID number, take about 3 months to get the tax ID. Then you file the tax. That's foreigner tax. You file the tax at IRS, try to get your money back, and you got to report it. How much you purchase, how much you spend the money for remodeling, how much do you sell, how much do you cost, for the net, 1.9 million. Maybe your cost is 1.3 million. Okay, then what do you got? It's the $600,000. Okay, then your $600,000 usually the capital gain tax is what? About 25%. So you suppose pay about $150,000. If that's the case, then the IRS will refund. Okay, for the $150,000, and plus that's only the IRS. We still got California State. Seller may avoid a withholding by providing the buyers a statement of non-foreigner status. If you provide, let's say, we are the legal residents. If you got a green card or citizen, then we're none. Okay, so we actually providing the document. That's why when the Social Security card, we have to write it to the escrow and say we are the legal residents, right? Usually we have that. We are not a non-resident alien. That means we are the legal resident. One not, one none. That means 负负得正嘛. -2 negative equal plus, right? That's how the wording, legal wording. Okay. A statement must be signed by the seller under the penalty of a perjuring and must including a seller's tax identification number. Buyers can also avoid having the withhold federal tax and from seller proceeding if the property price is $300,000 or less. You don't want to pay anything? Fine. You better sell the property anything of $300,000 or less. Can we still find those property? Yeah, very rarely. 1-bedroom condo, maybe. Okay. And Hacienda Pie, $300,000 or less. Or the one, on the Hacienda Boulevard, any 1-bedroom condo, they will sell the $300,000 less. Okay, then you don't have to file. It used to be 100,000, but now it's 300,000. But this is only for IRS. For information, I have the coworker has the issue before is the seller claims some kinds of they say they I think not sure they lying to the IRS or not, but I mean they say they are the legal resident, but later on they file something that it should be the foreigner, the filing for they do the remodeling and something like that. So see if they try to claim the last tax withholding. And because that has not really happened during the escrow, and the escrow usually holding that money for 1 month before they send it to IRS after close of escrow. So just in case, if you get any documents. They file and the IRS deny, but I think escrow filing late. So they already send out those money. Actually, they did not. Escrow did not send those money, withholding money. And what happened? IRS sent a letter to the new homeowner. The tax. New homeowner said, wait a minute, I just bought the property. What tax should I need to pay? Okay. See, that's an issue coming out. So as a buyer's agent, so to the buyer, it got to go all the way back to the seller. Because Internal Revenue Service, they don't care. They don't care, who paid the tax. They just issue the current owner. And obviously, we know it's not current owner issue. It's a seller's issue. So a lot of things we have to make sure we clarify. The good thing that seller still here, but that's happened about half a year ago. I think buyer, just ignore, on the letter or whatever it could be. By the time when they find our coworker as an agent, it's half a year later. Everything is late. I say, oh boy, and then we gotta have to go everything on that. I say, when do you see it? Right after we close escrow 2 months, we receive letter. Come on, why you ignore the letter? Now it's half year. Right? Yeah. And the good thing, they can still find seller. If put it this way, a lot of seller, if they sell the house, where they go? They go back to their own country. Buyer. Yeah, the current owner. agent will say, well, not my issue. I don't know on my, did you ever check on your client status, legal status? No, never. Due diligence, maybe, but I mean, we have no way to check. We can only rely on what? Escrow. Then who do you sue? Sue escrow. Yes, but escrow cannot. This escrow will not check the owner seller's legal status either, based on the honor system. You write it, you sign it, we believe it. Did you ever see the escrow company seeing your green card, seeing your citizenship? No. So you're gonna have to go all the way back to seller. But if the seller is not, I know. So that's the issue. It could be a huge argument. So that's why we all carry the insurance, what we call the E&O insurance. Even we don't like to get it, we don't want like to use it because the deductible is $10,000. It's not $100. Okay, it's a $10,000 our deductible. So within $10,000, we need to pay with the broker. I know you probably didn't pay all 10,000, but 7,500. Okay, broker pay 25%. We pay 75%. But 75% is still $7,500. I don't know. So that's why, I know this is a gray area. I can tell you that. It's a gray area. So if it really, really happened, so mainly if you know, seller is a foreigner, and make sure the escrow company withholding. It's probably already happened. See, put it this way. At that situation is, I would say seller is quite stupid. Is you want to claim the last capital gain tax because I think they do the remodeling or something like that. They try to claim last capital gain tax. So, and when the IRS, go back to the issue, they found out the seller is foreigner. If you don't report it, they would probably never found out, right? Who knows the seller is a foreigner? IRS doesn't know. IRS doesn't have an issue, doesn't have information. Okay, but unless the escrow reported escrow withholding, then they will know the seller is a foreigner. It's escrow is responsible. So that's why if we go all the way back, who's the first guy to check on it? That's right, listing agent. What do when we sign a listing, we're gonna make sure you are the legal resident, right? Well, you can kind of guessing. I know. If you really want to check on it, but none of them, they would. If you want to see their legal status, you might piss them off. Maybe, maybe not. Yeah. So, listing agent, you can kind of way you can ask for. Okay, how long did you purchase this house? Oh, okay. Oh, so when you purchase house, you're the legal resident, so you just come from China or come from Hong Kong or Taiwan, or when you bought it. Okay. So did you get the green card now? So I mean, you have some way to kind of, asking those questions. Okay. Or unless it's like somebody stay here. When I talk to myself, oh, how long did you own this house? 40 years. Okay. What do you think? 40 years? Most likely, yeah. None? As a foreigner for 40 years? Yeah, that's kind of tough, okay? So, that, and did you report any tax annually? You can kind of asking them. If they report no tax. Wait a minute. You report no tax? Are you a foreigner? How come you're making no income? That's some way you can, kind of find out see if they are a foreigner or not. Okay. Oh, so you do have a green card. Okay, when do you get it? You can kind of asking them. Yeah. So On what? Insurance company, they don't care. Insurance company, they don't care your legal status. All they care is the house. Title company doesn't know either. Unless you want to see it. What's your green card, right? Okay, show me your passport. Yeah. So what you see is only a IRS. Okay, we'll continue. Number 2. Oh, wait. And the buyer signed an affidavit stated buyer intend to occupy the property as a principal resident. Okay, if the buyer, either owner occupied or is an investor, you better say so. Why? It's because as an investor, doesn't matter you are a legal resident or not. What has a tax withholding? Because investor when you purchase the property. Yeah, on a purchase agreement. Okay, that's why. And also when we are the PCOR, when we record it at the county, we also need to state that you are a principal resident or it's an investment property producing income. Remember, we filled on the form and the escrow. Yeah. 2, California Revenue and Taxation Code, Section 18662 require that the buyer withholding the remit of the California franchise tax for 3 1/3%. So, what do we really combine? If it's over $1 million, escrow should withholding 18.130%. And if it's under 1 million, it's 13 1/3%. That's on the escrow withholding. Of the purchase price of the property, purchase price, that means the selling price or the purchase price, not deducted on the commission or escrow fee. No. Purchase price. Same thing at the 1031 exchange. They got to purchase exceeding the selling price or the purchase price. Okay, not after all the deduction. So the purchase price property, unless the seller signed an affidavit that the property was the seller's or the descendant, if the trust or the probate sale. Trust or probate sale, why they can get an exemption? Because they have inherited tax. Okay, usually the attorney will go for that. Principal resident, or that is sales price is $100,000 less. I don't think you can find any property $100,000 less unless mobile home. Or another express exemption apply. Exemption from withholding also apply to the legal entities such as corporation, LLC, and partnership. Broker cannot give tax or legal advice. Broker recommend that buyer and seller seeking advice to the CPA, attorney, or tax authority. Broker do not have expertise in this area. So if you have an issue of the foreigner or tax withholding, the best bet is any tax issue. They either consult with the CPA, accounting. If they're really, really cheap, they want to save some money. I'm not going to answer that. Who else you can consult? Escrow officer. At least in very general question, because they are the one that withholding their tax. They need to know. Escrow officer. It's not our job. Just like, do I need to fill out a 593C or 593E form? What the heck is that? Well, that's for either prove it you're the owner occupy or it's an investment. 2 different taxation forms. And if the seller doesn't know how to fill it out, that's okay. Consult with the CPA. James, can you help me? No. But I don't want to pay. Then you call escrow officer. See if he or she can help you. All I can give you is general. One form, the 593C is for investor. 593E is for owner occupier. That's all I can answer. Whatever the questionnaire on the top, well, you determine yourself. Yeah. And I know a lot of Asian buyer, Asian owner or Asian buyer, they think and they thought we should know everything. Yeah, even I know I would not answer. I'm sorry. I do not carry the accounting license. Okay, then I don't want to take the risk. Later on, you say, "Oh, my agent told me that." Oh no. Where? Okay, because they're tax, those are, I don't want you to be a hero on that. Make sure they consult with the CPA, or if they have a general question, they can always ask the escrow officer. Flood hazard. Buyer and seller are advised that if the property is located within the special flood hazard area designated by the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, or the area potential flooding pursuing the California Government Code Section 8589.3, generally, seller must disclose this fact to the buyer and may use the research company to aid this process. The National Flood Insurance Program was established and identified all floodplain area and established flood risk zone within those area. The program mandate flood insurance for the properties within the high-risk zone if the loan are obtained from the federal regulated financial institution or are insured by the agency of the United States government. Extended coverage of costs may vary. Those are if the lender required a flood insurance, okay? Then you gotta have to make sure the insurance agency put in the item for that, for the flood. If the buyer wants further information, broker recommend that buyer consult his and her lender and or insurance agency during the buyer's inspection contingency period. Buyers advise that there is a potential for flooding even outside designated zone. Broker do not have expertise in this area. We probably doesn't have any flooding area here. I know we got quite a few landslide, right? Mudslide area. I mean, that's, the issue is I know we rain pretty hard lately. You see everywhere it's green, beautiful mountain view with the snow. But what do we think about the coming year, summer? It's going to be hot. Then what's next? For the brush fire. After the brush fire, when they rain, mudslide. It's like a cycle, After mudslide, okay, they get rain and you got, all the grass and the weeds and, branches all grow up again. American Law Database Disclosure. Notice pursuing the Section 290.46 and the Penal Code. Information about a specific registered sex offender is made available to the public via an internet website maintained by the Department of Justice of the http://www.americanslaw.ca.gov depending on the offender criminal history. This information will include either the address at which of an offender reside and community of residence of a zip code in which he or she reside. Neither seller nor broker in any are required to check with the website. If the buyer wants further information, buyer should obtain the information directly from this website. Broker do not have expertise in this area. We are not required, obligated to find out for the buyer. I know a lot of buyers, I don't understand English. That's okay. Your friend understand English or your kids understand English. Have them find out for you. Why we don't really want to volunteer to find out? Sometimes, maybe the subject property next door is a sex offender and might kill the deal. I just don't want to do it. Okay. If you find out yourself, buyer, that's fine. Okay. Don't give me that. I don't understand English. It doesn't work for me. I say, well, you find somebody to find out for you. Yeah. Number 8, notice of your supplemental property tax bill. Okay, accurate sales price reporting. This is really important. Buyer and seller advise that the pursuing the Civil Code 1102.6, seller and his and her agent is required to provide the following notice to the buyer. California property tax law require the assess to revalue the real estate property at the time of ownership of the property and changes because this law, you may receive 1 or 2 supplement tax bill depending on when your loan closed. The supplemental tax bill are not mailed to your lender, even if you have arranged for the property tax payment to be paid through the impound account. Supplemental tax bill will not pay by your lender. If it is your responsibility to pay this supplemental bill directly to the tax collector, if you have any question concerning this matter, please call your tax collecting officer, collector's office. Property tax, actually, why we have to report properly, because later on, if you don't, I know the, put it this way, how many homeowners doing the addition, they may have a permit, okay? They do apply for the permit, but they never bring the additional area to tax assessor department. Why? Say property tax. Well, okay, fine. You did not bring it over, right? Okay. When you want to sell the property, whose responsibility to check on it? Buyers and buyer's agent. Listing agent, they will not volunteer to show you anything. Listing agent, if you ask, they make sure you permit. But I mean, sometimes I don't believe, listing agent's permit. I will still go to the city to check on it. With the buyer. Not go by yourself, okay? With the buyer. So make sure the buyer know what they buy. But if they have an issue discrepancy on the square footage because addition, make sure you bring those permit to tax assessor. Why? Before close of escrow, they know who to after. Pay the differences of the property tax for past 10 years or whatever years may be, and penalty and interest. If you don't do that, that's right. The new homeowner, you got to pay for. Then you got to have to what? After the listing agent, after the seller? Hey. Yes. No, they got no automatic. Government have nothing automatic. You got to bring it yourself to tax assessor area to update your square footage on your, what do we see, the real list and the title, right? That's what we see it on our real list, the title report. How come the permitted area is different than the tax assessor area? That's why I tell my client, you bring it over yourself. Don't they consulting with me and say, don't say the tax, otherwise we'll get back to you. Yes. Because city doesn't care. It's not they collect tax. I know. So that's why when we have the differences on the square footage, when sellers say, I got 2,000 square footage. Wait a minute, your title is only 16. Where's that 400? Oh, we have a permit. Oh, the buyer's okay, we have a permit. Everybody happy. And then later on, if that particular buyer says, I want to sell 2,000. Wait a minute, no, it's only 16. Different agent. Okay. Then, did you ever check the permit? Oh, my buyer's agent never told me to check the permit. Uh-oh. They look at the permit. What date? Yeah. Okay. Then that's where the date they start charging you. All the differences, addition, they will reassess the value year by. They have a calculation. Don't worry. Okay. But during the escrow, if I bring it over, I said, oh, I see. Okay. Then it's not the buyer's responsible. They know who they're after. Seller. No, escrow doesn't care. Escrow, why they care? It's not their job.
So then the buyer agent and the buyer have to go through the assessor.
That's it. Yes, you check on the permits, then permits, everything is valid, fine. But how come it's different than the tax assessor? I will bring those permit, copy of a permit, to tax assessor department, a different department. One is a county, one is a city, or if it's a city. Or it's a county, even as a county planning department, they will not automatically bring to the county of a assessor department because different office, different location, they don't have a computer connected. Okay? Because we do have a lot of issue on that. So that's why I'm telling you. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And that's why, you know, that's one of a lawsuit may happen. That's right. That's right. Yeah. So that's why, you know, on my client, if they consult with me, they follow my instruction. They always, James, did my title report updated square footage? Good. I'll check it. Not yet. Oh, okay. A month later. Did they update it yet? Not yet. Sometimes wait a half year. Okay, finally they updated. Oh, so they can have peace of mind. When they want to sell it, they have a proper square footage showing on a title report. And the supplemental tax, only on the purchase for the next year, because right after you purchase a property, they're using the tax rate, okay, at the old owner, seller's tax rate, cheaper usually, okay, at this moment. If you talk about when the property declining, then they're usually higher. But I mean, at this moment, the property, the price still going up, and usually using the for the seller's tax rate is cheaper because they haven't updated the county the assessor, they haven't updated the new value even on the purchase price. They want to make sure your purchase price is valid within the range or your purchase price is too low. Because usually county will charge you the property tax based on your selling price or their assessed value, whichever is higher. So your property tax higher than their assessed value, fine. They use the property tax. I mean, use the purchase price. If the assessed value, if somebody, you know, some of them it could be for sale by owner, you sell it cheaper, they will use assessed value instead of your selling price. So that's why somebody said, "Oh, can I pay you $100,000 in China? Then so we can write it, you know, the cheaper price, you know, at the selling price." Buyers, you're so stupid if you say okay, okay? Because later on your capital gain, you just lost $100,000. And do you think you saved the property tax? No. They will get you. They'll reassess the value to the market. Sometimes the market could be higher than your purchase price. You'll be crying, okay? You'll be crying. Dang, what do I got? Nothing. Who's paid less on the capital gain tax? If the seller is an investor, it's a seller. Seller just paid $100,000 less on their capital gain. Yeah. So that's why, you know, if you're looking at, you know, for the somebody, you know, asking you the proposal for that, please don't do it. Not only is it illegal, nothing benefit the buyer, only benefit seller. And who usually propose that? Seller. Because they want to pay less on their capital gain tax. If $100,000 less, they will pay a $25,000 less tax. So when you get the lower tax rate, you know, on the for the first year, then tell the buyer, don't get excited because you will come out with supplemental tax. You know, whatever the difference is between your purchase price and the seller's, their old assessed value. That differences will come out with the supplemental tax. That's only for the first year after you purchase. We all know when to pay the property tax, right? What's the fiscal year for the property tax? From July 1st to December 30th. That's the first period. Second installment. That's the first installment. Second installment from following year, January 1st to June 30. That's the second installment. The fiscal year is not January 1st to December 30. No. It's middle of a year until the following year. Who created that? I don't know. That's the way it is. I just follow the law. Okay? It's just you have to remind the buyer, don't forget, you most likely you will not receive your property tax bill. But still, doesn't mean you do not receive the bill, you don't need to pay. How about your mortgage? If the bank didn't send you the statement, did they still charge you late payment? Uh-huh. I didn't receive it. I don't care. What's the penalty for the property tax if you did not pay on time? You know? 10%. Oh, more than the mortgage, right? Mortgage 5%. Property tax is 10%. Okay, it depends. No. It depends when the selling day fall in. For example, I read at this moment, escrow will charge, maybe, because when is the due date for the second installment? April 10th. April 10th, that's the delinquent date. The due date, I believe, is the February 1st, but delinquent day is the we'll go by the April 10th. So if we close the escrow right at this moment, yes, escrow will charge from seller and buyer, both parties, to pay the second installment. Okay, but if you close the escrow on early July, still too early to pay the property tax, right? So escrow only charge the seller to pay the portion of whatever they owe the tax. You say if they July 20th, so they charge in 20 days of the property tax on the seller's tax rate. But buyer forgot. They thought they pay. No, they did not pay. Because the following year, the first installment is the due date is what? December 10th.
So and then you say after the June, right?
Uh-huh.
That the seller, the period
They will credit 20 days. December 10th, that's a delinquent date. But if the county, no, most likely you won't receive anything. Not the first year, whatever the year. The first year you probably will receive nothing from county. Why? First of all, county may not be react that fast. And the second of all, why reacting on what? They're changing the name. But when the seller, they're forwarding the address to them. They're also forwarding all the mail to them, right? Maybe the property tax billing forward to the seller. Seller never give it back to the buyer. And buyer says, I never received a tax bill, so I don't have to pay. No. You have to go online to pay yourself. Okay, otherwise, I have no excuse, 10% penalty. If the stamp, okay, usually if you want to mail it out, the stamp has to be 10th, either December 10th or April 10th. If it lost mail, too bad. You still pay 10% penalty. Because I had that issue before, long time ago. Never pay mail on my property tax. Okay? Same thing on the mortgage payment. Never pay through the mail. Everything online. That's why U.S. Post Office losing money. Can't help it. It lost mail. Then who pay? Not U.S. Post Office. Us. Continue. Although the notice refer to the closing of a trigger, and it is actually the change of ownership which triggered the reassessment of property tax. Therefore, the property can be reassessed even if there is no loan involved in the purchase of the property. The purchase price may allocate the supplemental tax bill received after the close of escrow to the buyer. A change, a preliminary change in the ownership form, and generally required to be filed by the buyer with the local taxation agency. The form identifies the sales price of the property. An assessor may value the property tax of property at the fair market value, regardless of a sales price declared by the buyer. If the buyer wants further information concerning this matter, broker recommend that buyer discuss issue the county assessor tax collector and their own tax and legal advisor. Broker do not have expertise in this area. If the homeowner or the buyer did not agree for the tax assessor value, can you challenge them? Yes, you could. You asking the form and it show them, usually that would do, they will show 3 property. They will tell you what your neighborhood recently sold 3 property, how much they sold it for. You help the tax assessor and they will verify. Why? They will want to verify the other 3 property owner, did they report the selling price correctly? That's how they can get you. Okay, so if the you show them, how much they sell it for, and if they agree your issue, and they may readjust your reassessed value. So you pay less property tax. When the financial crisis starting at 2007, I didn't really claim for, but my property tax readjust lower. Okay, at year 2009, year 2010. 11 start going up. They go back normal, quick. Okay? So even, say the house value probably $1 million, but my tax bill is still showing $780,000. Why? Because I bought it early. So they increased 2 to 3% annually. But when it's 2008 and 9, they're going down. But when that's a proposition 13. But when the price going back up to 700, right away, they come back normal. Because that's, on my assessed value. So that's why every time when you sell the property, who win? County win. Because they can collect more property tax. They go by the latest selling price. Instead of your old assessed value price. So that's why county actually encouraging us keep on selling, all right, so they can keep on collecting more tax. Every transaction, they collect more tax. Not only the property tax, they collect more. What seller need to pay for? Transferring tax. You know that? Transferring tax. County transferring tax and city transferring tax. Zone map and may change. Map that designated among the thin earthquake fault zone, seismic hazard zone, state fire responsibility area, very high fire hazard zone, special flood zone area, and potential flood zone. Occasionally redrawing the applicable government agency. Property that are currently designated in a specified zone and area could be removed. And property that are not designated in a specific zone and area could be placed in one or more zone, such zone or area in the future. The potential owner may dispute a FEMA flood hazard location by submitting an application to FEMA, and broker do not have expertise in this area. So because sometimes when you don't have, you cannot get the insurance, and you think this area is not the flooding area or it's not the high fire zoning area, you can challenge FEMA. Okay, unless they, because that's how the insurance agent that's based on. They could be based on FEMA, or they have their own topography or geologic graph, on that for the what they insure, which area they did not insure. So that's why each agent, they cannot determine they write a policy or not. They have to send the policy to the headquarters and make sure it's approved. And not only that, insurance agent have to take the photo of the property. Do you know that? The homeowner insurance, I got to come to each house to take a photo, apply for. Unless it's the repeating client, you haven't the insurance for those. They will not take the photo every year, but I mean, if it's a new policy, they will take the photo. Contract related issue and term. Arbitration is not fun, okay? Buyer and seller are advised that the arbitration is a process by which a dispute party hire a neutral person to render the binding decision. Generally, arbitration is faster and less expensive than resolving the dispute by litigation in court. The rule of usual less and formal than in court, and it is private process, not a matter of a public record. That's more important. If you go through the court, it's on the record. If you go through arbitration or mediation, it's not on the record. It's just a mediation. You don't hire the attorney go with you. You representing yourself, but when it's arbitration, you could hire the attorney go with you. And if you could, try to settle. Because once you get on the court, you have the record, and it's hard to remove. Because set on the record for the property. By agreeing to the arbitration, the parties give up the right to jury trial and to appeal the arbitration decision. Arbitration decision has been upheld even when the arbitration have made a mistake as a law of fact. And the parties agree to arbitration then, after first attempting to settle the dispute through the mediation. So mediation first, then arbitration. Any dispute arising out of their agreement, with a few limited exception, must be submitted to binding arbitration. Buyer-seller must wait and benefit of the potential quicker and less expensive arbitration against giving up the right to jury trial and right to appeal. Broker cannot give the legal advice regarding this matter. Buyer and seller must decide on their own, or with the advice of the legal counsel, whether agree to arbitration. Broker do not have expertise in this area. 80% of the case probably resolved in mediation. 20% to go through arbitration. But if you could try to resolve anything, because once you go to arbitration, that means we don't go to the court. Court has no time for us. Jury trial, appealing, everything, it costs more. But actually, you may end up, the settlement, a whole lot less attorney fee. Then is it worth it? Right? Attorney fee is not cheap. Yeah. Any mediation attorney fee could be cost $10,000 already. Just a mediation. Why I know? Been there, done that. That's why I know. It's not fun, okay? I will settle anything on mediation. I will not do it on arbitration, no way. Okay? E&O insurance, they will send us the attorney and the settlement people. Okay? Because no matter how careful you are, if you have a lunatic, either buyer or seller, what can you do? I do my job properly, but can I avoid? I can't. They want to after you for the damage. Yeah. Last time, I have the issue, and you know what? The settlement from our company only $2,500 because we did nothing wrong. The settlement people say, just give him 500. I say, and the attorney say, that's cheap. You know, the mediator. Mediator is also attorney. They all attorney. Mediator say, you only want to pay them 500? That's cheap. Oh, fine. Give him $2,500. But the attorney fee, mediator fee, and the renting of the mediation, it costs us 10 grand. So is it what happened? The settlement is a whole lot less than attorney fee. Who paid the most? Seller. Even I'm a listing agent. Okay? Buyer sue us for square footage, not accurate. When the seller did not disclose, I don't know. I based on county record and the owner association record, county appraisal record. What did I do wrong? Right? Yeah. The mediator said, you do everything properly. No problem. Even attorney, hey, we got strong case. We can actually hammer the deal, pay them nothing. But I still have to pay you, attorney, right? Even we don't have to pay any settlement fee if we really avoid it. But you still have to pay attorney fee. And that's a $10,000 deductible. Yeah, I have to cover 75%. And I'm just a mentor. I'm not even a listing agent, co-listing agent. Yeah, because it's a commercial. So that's why, you know, it's actually our coworker co-op with me, and I'm just pretty much like a mentor. But since she cannot really attend the mediation, I just, you know, have to go all the way. Yeah. But I learned. Expensive, right? So that means between, you know, the both agent, you know, we split that $7,500 cost. And you have to pay first, okay, before the mediation. It's not like you pay later, okay? It's different, okay? Our broker will charge you pay first, not pay later. Electronic signature. The ability to use electronic signature to sign a legal document and a great convenience, facility ability to send the receiving document and reach an agreement and real estate transaction. However, buyer and seller are cautions to carefully read each provision. Arrow indicating sign here are merely there for the conversation, defining the next signature line. Only sign if you have taken the time necessary to read each document thoroughly, have fully knowledge and consent of the term providing in the document. Broker strongly advise buyers and seller to read the entire document before signing, even if they have reviewed the earliest draft. Do not just scroll through to skip the next signature line. You are signing a legal binding agreement. Read it carefully. Ask your broker, agent, legal advisor if you have questions or do not understand a provision, and sign only if you agree to be bounded by the term. Broker do not have expertise in this area. Is it our job to have to explain to our client? Doesn't matter, seller or buyer. Don't just tell them, sign it. All right? I mean, they could, but later on they say, I don't know what I'm signing for. Oh, man. To avoid that, you better explain it. Say, I don't care you like it or not. Either you're in a foreign country, we have all kinds of social media for free. Please spend with me half hour or an hour. Let me explain the contract with you. You don't have to explain every time. If they're repeating buying it, okay, that's fine. But it's the very first time, you better explain everything. Tell them what they are signing. Because their question, you may not understand. Their concern may be different than what you thought. So by the time when you go through the agreement, they will tell you what their concern is. Okay, that's we call service. You're gonna have to remember that. What's a service starting with the S? If your service is great, dollar will come. The dollar sign will come. But your service is bad, one-time deal, you're out. That's why we have to continue and get the repeating business. That's how you maintain our career. Otherwise, you'll be out in no time on this field. Got to remember that. You know, this is the not one-time deal. So that's why when we close of escrow, I tell my client, our relationship just begin, not end. It's a closed escrow, I know, but our relationship is just begin. Whatever you have the question or the housing or anything where I can help you, anything related household, even not related. Why are you saying that? You want them to remember you. You are the walking yellow page. You want them to rely on you so they will remember you whenever they go. And electronic signature, I know we create a lot of convenience, but also, you know, make sure you go over with them. Escrow fund. Buyer seller advised that California Insurance Code Section 12413.1 provided that escrow company cannot disperse fund unless there is sufficient good funds to cover the disbursement. The good funds are defined as cash, wire transferring, cashiers, or certified check drawn by the California depository. Escrow company vary in their own definition of good funds. Broker recommend that buyers and seller ask the escrow company regard its treatment of good fund. All sample and out-of-state check are subject to waiting period and do not constitute good funds until the money is physically transferred to and received by the escrow holder. Broker do not have expertise in this area. So that means when we open escrow, they will allow us to give the for the personal check. Why? Because we just open escrow. So they don't mind get a waiting period. But if you want to close the escrow in 2 days, believe me, they want good fund. That means wiring. Or you want to close the escrow in 7 days, they want good fund. They may not have the time to wait for your personal check. Okay? You have to wire the money into the escrow. And some of our escrow, if anything larger than $100,000, have no way they can even cash your check. They will not receive it. They will not agree to receive that. For example, somebody buying all cash, and unless the escrow company would allow you to give them the cashier check. I remember one time we want to wire the money, but for some reason, I don't know why we cannot wire the money into the escrow. I don't know. I forgot the reason. So we asked the escrow, we want to close on time. Escrow said, fine, just give me the cashier check. We give it 2 cashier check combined for $800,000. We gotta have to ask permission for that. Because that's a huge cashier check, about $400,000 each. Why? Did you think as the escrow company, the cashier check, did you ever deposit the cashier check? They still have to wait the holding period. It's not like cash. Cash, you can use it right away. But cashier check, they still have a holding period. 2 days to 3 days. Not right away. But if a personal check, they're withholding the amount, they're withholding the date. It could be more than 7 business days. So they will come by maybe 10 days before you can use that fund. And escrow doesn't have that time. When you pay them, especially they get ready to fund it, get ready to close the escrow. You got to make sure the fund is good before they can close. So it's only wire, okay? Tell your buyer, don't get cheap. Wire the money. You know, sometimes I can do the online banking, so I can do it, you know, online banking to the escrow trust account. No. No. Escrow will not receiving on those money from online banking. Why? Do you know why? Because online banking is like checking. You can still cancel. But when it's wiring, that means you go to the bank, you sign it, you authorize the bank and the wire. They deduct it from your account right away, isn't it? But it's online banking. Did they deduct it right away? No. They deduct it when the money is drawn, not deducted right away. When you go on that online, sign it, execute, or submit, boom, they deduct it. No. They technically send an electronic check to the other bank. Okay? It's not wiring. It's different. That's why a lot of people were confused. That's all the same. No, it's not the same. Online banking, you operate it yourself. It's for free. Wiring is operated between bank to bank. You need to pay. And I know some buyer, they are cheap, dirt cheap. They don't want to pay $30 or $35. Okay, whatever. You ask the buyer, do you want to close the escrow or not? You better pay. Because online checking doesn't consider good fund. Because when you delay, seller can penalize. Then definitely costs more than $35, right? Okay, if you did not close it. And not only that, the trust account will not accept the online checking. If you go in, they will kick it back. They're only accepting the wiring. Home warranty. Buyer and seller are advised that the buyers and seller can purchase home warranty plan covering certain standard system of the property both before and after close of escrow. Seller can obtain the coverage of the property during the listing period. For additional premium, an upgrading policy provided additional coverage for air conditioning, pool, spa, and other feature can be purchased. Home warranty and home warranty that do not cover every aspect of the property and may not cover inspection or upgrading for repair required by the state or federal law and pre-existing condition. Broker recommend that buyer review the policy for detail. Broker do not have expertise in this area. So the home warranty, they can probably waive it, okay, at the begin with, or or they can, still purchase during the escrow if they change their mind. But if they waive it to begin with, and if the buyer want to buy it, then usually buyer pay, unless you put in the agreement tell seller pay to begin with.